Hi everyone, welcome back to Falcon's House. This is the Lost Watch vlog. This is the start of Season 3, Episodes 1 through 3. We are introduced to Juliet, who is holding a book club in her house. While it is going on, there's a loud rumbling noise, and they all run outside. Outside we see that Ethan and Ben, who was known as Henry Gale before they were told his real identity, they all watch Oceanic Flight 815 crash, and the tail section split off. Ben tells Ethan and Goodwin to go to where each tail section landed and to infiltrate each group and make lists. We then see the place that they are living, and it is actually on the island. In the flashbacks, Jack is stalking his ex, Sarah. He steals her phone and finds that she has his dad's number and has been talking to him. Jack follows his dad to the AA meeting and where he finds that he has been sober for 50 days. Jack accuses him of sleeping with Sarah and attacks him. Jack gets arrested and is bailed out by Sarah, who is there with her new boyfriend. She tells him that his dad is not sober anymore and that he has something to fix now. Jack is getting really creepy in this flashback with how he handled the Sarah situation. Kate finds herself on the floor of a locker room where she is approached by Tom and told to take a shower, and while she showers, he steals her clothes and makes her wear a dress. This scene came off a little creepy, and probably would be more so if the show is made on 2018 on HBO. Kate is then taken outside to a table with a lot of food and meets Ben, who tells her to put on handcuffs. He tells her that the next couple of weeks is going to be unpleasant. Sawyer is in a cage, and there's a second cage with a young guy named Carl. Sawyer socks himself with a puzzle for food in the cage. Carl asks questions about the survivors and decides to break out of the cage and help Sawyer escape. They run off in different directions, but both are caught and beaten. Sawyer finally figures out how to get the puzzle to get a fish biscuit. Tom tells him that it only took the bears like 2 hours. This explains where the polar bears came from. Kate is put in her cage that Carl has been kept in. Jack is in a holding cell, and Juliet shows up and starts asking him questions. She says that she will bring him food if he sits against the wall. They are separated by glass. After he does, she enters his room with a plate, and he attacks her, breaking the plate and using it as a knife to hold at her throat and threaten her. He tells her to open the door, and she refuses, saying it would kill them. Ben shows up and says it'll kill them. Jack doesn't listen and opens the door, and water starts flooding in. With Juliet's help, they are able to close the door, and then she knocks him out. Once he wakes up, he's back in his cell, and she has a folder full of details of his life. He asks her if Sarah is happy, and she tells him yes. Sun, Jin, and Saeed are looking for Jack, Sawyer, Kate, and Hurley, since they didn't show up at the fire that they created for Jack to know where to meet them. Jin wants to stay, but Sun agrees with Saeed that they should move away from the place, and to another one where Jack will have a better chance of finding them. They find the dock that the others used to send Michael and Walt away, and where they captured Jack's team. They go on the beach and start building a signal fire. Saeed has figured out that the others have captured Jack and wants to go set up an ambush. He's able to convince Sun and Jin to go along with the plan. Sun goes back to the sailboat while Saeed and Jin wait for the others. The others have put together a group to go capture the sailboat. They don't go to the signal fire and go straight to the boat. Sun realizes that they are there and grabs a gun. She shoots one of the others named Colleen and is able to escape overboard while being shot at and is rescued by Jin. In the flashback, Sun is a child and breaks a glass ballerina, and her dad finds it and asks her if she did it. She says that it was the maid. He tells her that he'll fire the maid and ask her again if she did it, and she hesitates and then says it was the maid. So even as a child, Sun is manipulating things to her advantage. She might be meaner than she looks. It then moves forward to her as an adult. She's having an affair with Jay and sleeping with him. He offers her a pearl necklace, but she says that Jin would find out. Her father then finds them in bed together. He then goes and gets Jin and tells him that Jay has been stealing and that he needs to put an end to it. Jin tries to refuse, but he says that it is a matter of honor for the family. Jin confronts Jay and says a bunch of things that make it sound like he knows about the affair, but he doesn't. He doesn't kill Jay, but tells him to leave the country. When he is getting into his car, Jay's body lands on top of his car. It looks like Jay committed suicide, so there goes my theory that Jay ends up on the island. She goes to Jay's funeral and is upset and sees her father, who says that he won't tell Jin. Kate and Sawyer are released from the cages and brought to a work site where they have to dig and carry rocks. Alex shows up in the jungle and asks Kate about Carl, who doesn't know anything about him. Sawyer approaches Kate and kisses her and is broken up by the guards. He fights some of them and is able to get a rifle. Juliet threatens to shoot Kate and give the gun back. So he does. Once they are brought back to their cages, Sawyer starts telling Kate about what he learned. That most of them can't fight, but that Juliet is dangerous. They talk about escaping, not knowing that Ben is watching them. I think they probably should have been smarter about this and assumed that they were monitored and not talked about in the open. Ben shows up to Jack's cell and starts to build rapport by telling him his real name and that he has lived on the island his whole life. He tells Jack that if he cooperates, he will be allowed to go home and get off the island. Jack doesn't believe that there is a way off the island. Ben convinces him by telling him exactly how long they've been on the island, 69 days, and that they have been in contact with the outside world. He then shows him that the Red Sox have won the World Series, which Jack didn't believe since it had been 86 years since they won, but the video convinces Jack. Locke wakes up in the jungle after the hatch imploded. He sees Desmond run by completely naked. His clothes were blown off. Locke finds himself unable to speak and is almost hit by Mr. Echo's club, where he sees the writing. He goes back to the camp and starts writing stuff down and starts to try to build a sweat lodge and takes a bunch of the drug that he used on Boone. He wants to try to speak to the island. I guess he is back on board, believing that the island is intelligent now, and that he doubted it, and then that's what all this bad stuff happened, and that if he can fix it, maybe it can go back to being positive for him. Boone appears in his vision and says that he will help him find his way again, so that he can bring his family back together again. Locke motions that he is sorry for what happened to Boone, and Boone accepts. Locke is now in Sydney Airport in his wheelchair and is being wheeled around by Boone. Boone tells him that someone is in serious danger and that he needs to clean up the mess. Locke eventually comes across Echo's stick that is covered in blood. Boone tells him he doesn't have much time. Locke then wakes up from his dream and sees a flash of a polar bear. I think overall the scene is shot super well. He's now able to speak and tells Charlie that he has to go save Echo. In the flashback, Locke picks up a hitchhiker named Eddie. They are stopped by police and find guns in the back of the truck. Eddie says that Locke is his uncle and he isn't a hitchhiker. Locke then takes him to a commune where he is living and they take him in. After a few weeks, Eddie asks about the greenhouse and what are they going to blow up with all the fertilizer that they are bringing in. He wants to be in on it, and Locke says he will talk to the leaders. Later, Locke goes to the greenhouse, and we find out that they are growing marijuana, and they are packing up because they found out that Eddie is an undercover police officer. Locke says he will fix it, and takes Eddie hunting. He holds Eddie at gunpoint, but is unable to kill him, even though he insists that he is a hunter and not a farmer. Locke and Charlie try to find Echo, who Locke thinks has been captured by a polar bear. When they reach the hatch where everything has been destroyed and there is a huge hole in the ground, Hurley shows back up and tells them that Jack, Kate, and Sawyer have been kidnapped and that Henry is the leader. Hurley then goes back to the beach alone after hearing about the polar bear. He comes across the naked Desmond and gives him a tie-dye shirt, and Desmond says that the electromagnetic anomaly may have been destroyed. I wonder if this means Rose's cancer will come back? Desmond mentions Locke giving a speech to find Jack, Kate, and Sawyer and Hurley. And Hurley asks, "What speech?" Desmond then stops talking about it. Locke is able to find the polar bear cave and tells Charlie to wait outside. He goes in, he fights the polar bear, and is able to burn it with a torch and an aerosol can. He drags Echo out, and Echo tells Locke to rescue Jack and that group. Echo then goes back unconscious. Hurley tells the survivors that Jack, Kate, and Sawyer were captured. Locke announces his plan to rescue, and is the same scene that Desmond had seen previously. I wonder what happened to Desmond, because now he seems to have some sort of future-telling abilities. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and share with other Lost fans.